Hello and welcome to the transcription explanation of this design. I drew it to fit your request for the tattoo that says, "Weathered faces lined in pain are soothed beneath the artist's loving hand." And in this design, I have set up two relatively similar looking circles, just kind of mirrored, with this one having the weight at the bottom here and this one having the weight at the top here. And this is to get something different than my typical, like, smaller and bigger progression from a small circle to a big circle. To have kind of like inverted balance, I guess, between the words weathered faces and loving hands, because this circle is for weathered faces and that circle is for loving hands, because I wanted the big contrast between those two main ideas. So if you read this, you start at the bottom and you go counterclockwise, like a time traveler going back in time. And that's true for each of these sentence circles, as well as each of the words within the sentence circles, and then each of the letters within the word. So there's lots of starting at the bottom and going counterclockwise. And you can tell where the bottom is based on this start marker, which is starting at the bottom of our first sentence circle. So here's our first sentence circle, this thick one over here. So that means we're going to read this word and then this word in this sentence circle. And that's the words weathered faces. And then going to this sentence circle around here, we have lined in pain. And that's it for that whole chunk. And then going to this little sentence circle, we have R, A-R-E, S-O-O-T-H-E-D, soothed. And then we have beneath the artist's loving hands. And in this design, we have a little separate sentence circle for the loving hands, but it still fits the order bottom counterclockwise. If you didn't notice this sentence circle, we would go through and still see the loving before the hands. But in this design, if somebody didn't see that this is a separate sentence circle, they might read weathered, lined in pain faces. And that still has the same meaning, but still you would read this sentence circles first. So I wanted to make sure that if somebody wasn't familiar with the little nuances of the script, that it still worked in multiple ways for reading it. So let's go ahead and get to the nitty gritty. So when you get this tattooed, you'll want to start the video again here, and you're going to make sure all of the necessary lines and dots to make each word are present. So if a line doesn't end on a letter, and it should end on a letter, you can either add a new line if the line already passed through, or branch it forward. So like, let's say you had this line, and it was missing here, right? You could just add it through to there. But let's say this one went through and connected up to this one, right? You'd have to add another line on this one, because lines count where they end on a letter. And the number of dots matters as well. So if you have an extra dot and you make a bigger dot containing the two, if you don't have enough dots, you're going to have to add another little dot. So let's go ahead and read this letter by letter. So here's a shallow divot. So if you look at the grid above me, that means we're in the third row, and there are two lines ending on it. So this guy and this guy. So it's very important that this circle is broken here, there, and there. And then we have an E, a little guy centered, and these little guys are open in the middle. So E, A outside the word circle. This TH is a full circle that crosses our word circle line. Another E. This shallow divot has 3 dots for an R, another E, and then this big horseshoe shape has 3 dots for the D. So that's weathered. And then we have a horseshoe shape here with 1, 2, 3 lines, making it an F. And then an A outside the word circle. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 dots on a full circle for the E. And then a C, sorry, 4 dots on the C. Here's another E. I was looking ahead. And then this shallow divot has 3 lines on it for the S. So that's weathered faces. And then starting here, we have this full circle with 3 dots for the L, the I with a line going inwards, the N with 1 line on it, an E centered, and then this horseshoe has 3 dots for a D, just like that one, so that's lined. And this shape, a horseshoe with 1 dot, is a space. That's why there's a little blank where that is. So that's a blank space. So there's a space between lined, and then I has a line going inwards, and an N is a full circle with 1 line, and then another space. And then this has 2 lines ending on it. This curvy little line goes through it, so it doesn't count, but this one ends here and it ends here. So that's 2 lines on the P. The A outside the word circle. The I has a line going inwards, and then this N has 1 line on it there. So that's lined in pain. And then this word here, we start at the bottom going counterclockwise. We have an A outside our word circle. This shallow divot has 3 dots with it. You can tell these dots go with this letter instead of this letter because this one has 3 lines, and you can't have both dots and lines, so you have to have dots for one letter and lines for the other letter. And then here's our E, so that's A-R-E, so R. And then we have an S with 1, 2, 3 lines on it. and then O-O, a T with nothing on it. This horseshoe has 2 lines on the H, E centered, and then this horseshoe has 3 dots, making it a D. So that's soothed. And then we have this word here. We have a horseshoe with no dots or lines, so that's a B, E centered, N with 1 line, E, A outside, and then a TH can be done together with a full circle crossing a word circle. It's totally optional whether you do a TH as a full circle crossing or a T and an H like these guys. It's just whether or not you want to save space or kind of bubble out from the word. So that's beneath. Then we have another TH crossing our word circle here, so that's a TH and then our E. And it's important that this little A is just a scotch closer to this word here, so it doesn't look like a TH-A-E, and that this A is part of this word for the word artist. So we have our A with the word artist, and then we have some stack letters. This word is the only word where line thickness matters. It matters that there's a thick line and then a thin line in this little rainbow here, because you read thin to thick. So this R is going to be thin with 3 dots, and then this T is going to be thick with no dots. So that's the R and then the T, because you read thin to thick. And I gotta clean up that little nub in there. And then an I has a line going inwards, and then another thin to thick, so that thin one has 3 lines instead of 3 dots. That's the S. This T has nothing. And then an apostrophe is 2 lines going from our word circle to our sentence circle. And then here's another S, a shallow divot with 1, 2, 3 lines. So these are both the letter S, they just have very different looking lines. These are 3 straight lines going out, and these are 2 curvy ones and a straight one going in. So that's artists, possessive with the apostrophe. And then we have this word, full circle, starting with our full circle with 1, 2, 3 dots for the L. Our O is inside our word circle. This V is a shallow divot with 1 little line ending there. The I has a line going inwards. And then last but not least, we have a full circle with 1, 2, 3 lines on it for the NG crossing our word circle here. And then this word starting at the bottom, the first letter we hit is this one, and that's a horseshoe with 1, 2 lines. It's okay that these lines curve through and connect back up, so long as those 2 end on it, it's an H. The A is outside the word circle, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 dots on the ND. So, yep, that is the full design. Again, that's WEATHERED, FACES. LINED space IN space PAIN ARESOOTHED BENEATH apostrophe S LOVINGHAND. And I did put a little period at the end of this sentence circle. So yeah, I hope you like it. I like the kind of balance and symmetry with emphasis on loving hand with weathered faces. So yeah, I hope you like it. Thanks. Bye.